Straight all day.
You are now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all of this, you're going to get a huge dose of personal initiative. What does that mean? Personal initiative is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, and that includes you and I, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then here's what we're going to do with all of that. We're going to put all this together into a system and a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all that go underneath the umbrella of one philosophy. This is the only thing you got to remember. It is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is compare and despair. I'll explain that, of course, momentarily. But first, a couple housekeeping things. Number one, I send out a daily motivation text free of charge to everyone who is in my texting community. Now listen, if you are listening to this show, then you might as well be in my texting community. If you can give me 20 or 30 minutes of your time every single day to listen to what I talk about here on this show, why would you not get the daily motivation text that I send out every day? It will take you literally 20 to 30 seconds to read, usually less than that. You might as well get that to your phone every single morning, free of charge. Guarantee you that message is going to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. So since you agree with me, just text me at this number, 305-384-6894. And when I send out tomorrow's daily motivation, since you're on the list, you'll be getting it. You're in my text community, you'll be getting that daily motivation text. Secondly, if you have not yet claimed your free copy of my newest book called The Third Day, The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs. This book is all about how do you condition yourself. Notice my wording here, not motivate yourself, but condition yourself to show up and give your best effort, even on the days when you don't feel like doing exactly that. There's a process to doing this. There's a way that you can program yourself to do it. That process is called The Third Day. I will give you a book that I wrote explaining how to do this. I give you the book for free. On top of that, all I ask is that you cover the shipping, and I will ship you a free physical copy of this book. Just go to thirddaybook.com. Thirddaybook.com. That's all spelled out. And that's where you get a copy of that book. And the third thing is, if you are a business professional and you would like to make more money in your business, simple as that. You want to make more money in your business and you would like to do it through a systematic process that is consistent, something that you can depend on and rely on and do the same things the same way every time, that doesn't require you becoming much more talented or much smarter or working a whole lot harder, but there's a system you can implement that can take the skills and tools you already have and actually put them in some kind of order. If that sounds like something that you want to do, go to workonyourgame.net. I have a free 45-minute training where I explain how I help people like yourself do this. The training is 45 minutes. At the end of that training, I will present a link that will allow you to schedule a time to get on a call with me, and we can talk about how this could actually get implemented specifically into your personal business. So there's three things I'm giving you right up front, and I haven't even gotten into the game that I'm gonna give you on an actual episode. So if y'all don't mind, I just like giving. I just like to give. If y'all don't mind, if you got a problem with somebody who likes to give, this may not be the right place for you. But I just gave you three things completely for free, and I haven't even gotten into the episode. And this show has been listened to. By the way, before we even get further into this, I'm recording this in late October. When you hear this, it'll probably be around Thanksgiving. But I'm recording this in late October 2022. The Work on Your Game Masterclass has been listened to over 2 million times this year. Not all time. 2 million times this year. So in 2022, before Halloween, we still got 2 whole months and a few more days in the month of October to go. This show has been listened to over 2 million times this year alone. So I want to send my appreciation to everyone who has been listening to this show, those of you who have been sharing the show. If any of you has told somebody, hey, I listened to this show called Work on Your Game, this dude named Dre Baldwin, and they listened to at least one episode, then I want to thank you for telling people about this show, because you have let people know and spread the wealth and spread the knowledge of what we have here. Over 2 million listens so far this year to the Work on Your Game Masterclass. If you're watching on video, you're seeing that I'm holding up the overview insights page that I just pulled up on SoundCloud, which is the host where we host our episodes. 2,003,666 plays so far this year. That's as of this exact moment that I'm recording this. That's going to go up while I'm talking here. So shout out to everybody who is listening here. You are not the only one who is listening to this show, just to let all of you know. All right, that's the social proof. I had to let y'all know about that. over 2 million listens so far this year. So thank you for everybody who has been listening to the show, tuning in, applying the information. All of you who have been going into the back catalog, because this show has over 2,000 episodes. So if you've been going into the back catalog, when I mention old episodes, then you go back and listen to those previous episodes, and you're getting value from those, stuff that you didn't know about because you started listening to the show like 6 months ago or a year ago. And there was all this stuff that came out before that, or interviews in my coaching programs. And I mentioned, hey, anytime somebody brings up a challenge on one of my calls, I'm always like, I got a podcast episode on that, and I give you the link, and you actually go and listen to it. Shout out to all of you who are doing that as well. And of course, especially if you're sharing, because word of mouth is the strongest thing. I could talk up my stuff all day, but people might think I'm just talking up my stuff. I am talking up my stuff, but when you talk it up, it's not your stuff. You're talking up my stuff. That social proof is more valuable than me talking up my own stuff. So I appreciate everybody who has been sharing the show. Again, we've been listened to over 2 million times this year. Who knows, by the end of this year, maybe we can get to 2.5 by the end of the year. I'll aim for 2.5. My goal this year, let me see, because I got my goals written down. I'll even tell you. I'm not going to tell you everything I got on my goals written down, but I do have my goals written down. My goal this year for the Work on Your Game Masterclass was 1,500,000 listens. We passed 1,500,000 in the summer. We passed that in like June or July. So we smashed that goal. This year we're passing 2 million. So next year's goal is probably going to be 3 million. I'm not sure we're going to get to 3 million this year. So that'll be the goal for next year, is to get to 3 million. So anyway, all that said, let's get into today's topic, which is compare and despair. So now, if you're listening to this and you have a podcast, and your podcast has not done 2 million listens this year, if your podcast hasn't even done 200,000 or 2,000 listens this year, don't compare your position to my position, because as I told you, I got over 2,000 episodes of this show. And if you don't have 2,000 episodes of your show, then you shouldn't even be comparing, even if you did. But if you don't, you definitely shouldn't compare. Well, let's talk about this, why I'm even talking about this as a topic here today. The definition of compare is to estimate, measure, or note the similarity or dissimilarity between. It's in the definition. This episode today is about controlling your mind and not allowing yourself to get into the comparison game of what someone else has or appears to have, or where they are or appear to be compared to where you are. And why should you not do this? Because if you do enough of this, and you may need to do a little bit, some of you may need to do a lot, but if you do enough, you will eventually find someone who is outdoing you. So even though I just bragged about the fact that my show has done over 2 million listens this year, there are other shows out there that do 10 million in a year. There are shows that do 2 million in a month. So if I was to compare myself to all of those people, then eventually I might not feel so great about my 2 million. My 2 million might seem small compared to them. So if you look around enough, you're always going to find somebody who is doing more than you. Okay, so that's why you don't want to get into the comparison game. So all of this, what it does as humans, when we go around comparing ourselves to other people, if you compare yourself to people who are way below you, you can feel superior, and that might cause you to take your foot off the gas. And we talked about that back in episode number, let me tell you what episode that was. What episode was that? That was episode number 2324, how to not relax when you're winning. You may cause yourself to get complacent if you compare yourself only to people of which you're ahead of them. And then if you compare yourself to people who are way ahead of you, then you might start to feel like, what's the point of me even doing what I'm doing? I mean, I'm nowhere near these people. I'll never catch up to them. And all this does, either way, no matter which one you compare yourself to, it can conspire to slow you down and keep you off of your path, which is the only thing you really need to be paying attention to. So this is really a focus and discipline topic, even though we're talking about comparison. Point number one, today's topic once again is compare and despair. Number one, another person's path is not your path. If you could just keep this in mind, this is something that some of you, and again, some people need this more than others. Some of you need to burn this onto your brain, so that even though as humans you're always going to look around at other people, I mean, you should look around at other people. We're social creatures. I'm not telling you to not pay attention to the fact that other people exist and that they're out there. You can stop yourself even if you wanted to. I want you to understand that even though you're going to do that, understand that another person's path and what they're doing and what they're working on and where they're at right now is not your business. It is not your path. Is not a reflection of you. What another person is doing is not a reflection of what you need to be doing or what's wrong with you, nor is it a reflection of what's right with you, if we're being honest. What you need to be focused on is where you're at, and again, where that compares to where you've been. Though your path may converge with another person's path, You and that person each have a destiny which you are designed to live out. You have one, they have one. So if you and another person are, let's just say, the same age, or you've been in the same industry for the same amount of time, but they're further ahead of you, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have done something wrong. All right, what if they started the job 10 years before you? What if they had some training before they got on the job that you didn't have? All right, does that play a part in the difference? I would think that it does. What if they had a different education and just a different background and different teaching than you had? So where another person is today compared to where you are should not be your concern. And as of this moment, it is no longer your concern. So there are elements on another person's path and in their past that are not the same as the elements of your path and your past. Therefore, you should not, and honestly could not, compare where you are to where another person is, because there's a lot that you don't know. Plus, there are things that simply, if you did know, you would stop comparing immediately, but you'll never know. So this is what I'm trying to help you understand. There's a lot of information about other people to whom you may find yourself comparing, which you're going to stop doing now, because I just told you that information is not publicly available and is not readily evident. So you would never know unless they told you, and they'll never tell you. So this is why you shouldn't be comparing. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is compare and despair. Number 2, you do not know the full story of another person's life. And honestly, you probably never will. Do not compare the highlight reel of another person's life, which is usually what we see on social media and all types of media. We see people's highlight reels for the most part. And you're comparing it to your life, of which you see the full footage. You see everything in your life. So you see the highlight reels, you see the bloopers, you see the B-roll, the C-roll, and the D-roll. All right, but you don't see that of anyone else's life, except maybe your children. Even your significant other, all right, they had a whole life that they lived before they even knew you, right? So there's a lot that you don't know about them. Maybe your children actually are the only possible people of whom you've seen basically everything that's taking place in their lives. And even if your kids go to school, there's stuff happening in school that they probably don't tell you about. So you don't know everything about them either. So one of the downsides of social media is that it is designed to allow all of us to be in everybody else's business. And this is entertaining in some ways, but but the downside of it is, while we are taking advantage of this opportunity to be in everybody else's business, the problem is, knowing the full story of our own lives and we're looking at the highlights of everybody else's lives, we end up getting into this comparison game. And vice versa. People do it with you as well, if you're a person who posts on social media consistently. So the truth is, none of us know the full story of another person's life. As I've said, we only know the full story of our own lives. This is why you shouldn't pay that much attention to what other people are sharing, because there's often a lot more to what somebody shares than what meets the eye. So I can show you that this show has done 2 million downloads this year, which is actually a fact. I just showed it to you. But do you know what it takes to record a show every single day for 2,000, what episode is this? 2,373 days in a row? All right, so the details of it is not as sexy when you really think about what goes into doing something like this. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying woe is me, but I'm helping you understand that there's a lot more than meets the eye to what most people share about their highlights. And which it should be, because if everybody just had to tell you the whole story of how they got to their highlights, then social media wouldn't be social media. It'd be very boring, because you had to read a damn novel every time somebody shared an update, because they would have to tell you everything that led to that update. And if they told you everything, well, none of us will ever have time to read another person's stories. We'd be spending too much time writing our own. Oh, there's a magic trick right there, if you caught that. So you don't know what another person had to do, what they had to learn, what they had to go through, or otherwise dealt with to be who they are or to be where they are. You don't know what else is going on outside of what another person decides to show you. So when you are comparing yourself to another person, you are often making comparisons you're always making comparisons based on incomplete evidence. That's why it's a losing proposition from the beginning to compare yourself to another person. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is compare and despair. Number 3, here's a simple call to action. Now that you have everything that I've shared with you here today, mind your business. That's what you need to do. Mind your business. And guess what? I did an episode on that. Episode 1288, how to mind your business. In case any of you don't know how to do it, listen to episode 1288. Your only true affiliation in life is to yourself, to your own success, and how that success affects the people around you, and for whom you are responsible, such as your significant other, your family members, your children. That's your only true affiliation. What other people are doing, or what other people have done, or what other people are claiming to do, none of that is any of your business. And keep in mind that if your mind is not on your business, or any time that your mind is not on your business, guess what? Nobody's on your business. Nobody's mind is on your business if yours ain't, most of the time. So make sure that when it comes to your business, you are the one who is turning the lights on in the morning, metaphorically speaking, and you're the one who's turning them out at night. Every minute you spend not paying attention to your business, there's probably nobody paying attention to your business, and that's an inefficiency, because time is moving forward whether you're paying attention to your business or not. And if nobody's paying attention to your business, specifically you, the owner of You Incorporated, that means your business in that moment is probably underperforming based on its potential. You're not paying attention to what you need to be doing. You are underperforming based on your potential at that exact moment. And if you are standing still or going backwards or the world is moving forward, then by default, you are losing. So take ownership of minding your business, keeping in mind, folks, that the human brain is only capable of focusing on and paying attention to one thing at a time. So what do you want your brain to focus on and pay attention to right now? Should it focus and pay attention to what somebody else is doing, what somebody else has going on, or should it focus and pay attention to what you're doing and what you have going on? Because it has to pick one. You can't do both at the same time. Now, there is a caveat to this in which you can notice what another person is doing and even consider and think about what another person is doing, but you must do this in a strategic way. And here's how you do it. You look at what another person is doing only through the framework and the lens of, how can I extract something from this, or what can I extract from this that I can use for my own purposes? So when I read another person's book, or listen to another person's show, or go to somebody else's conference, or sign up for somebody else's program or someone else's course, I'm doing it strategically, not because I want to do a deep case study and deep dive on that person. It's because I'm trying to extract something from what they have that I can use for my own purposes. That's my selfish reason for paying attention to what anybody else has going on. So for example, I'm recording this on a Wednesday this week, as a matter of fact. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'm going to be at a conference down here in Miami that some other people are throwing. I don't even know these people that well, but I saw they were having a conference. I saw it was local. I bought a ticket and said, all right, let me see what these guys have going on. And my goal in going to that event is to extract information, insights, and knowledge that I can use for my own purposes. That's the reason I'm going. I'm not going to support them. I'm not going because I know, like, and trust them. I don't really know about these people's work that much. I don't follow any of them on social media or anything. I just saw there was an opportunity. I said, let me go to this and let me extract something from my own selfish purposes that I can use for myself. All right. This is a form of minding your business, what I just described to you. And this is the way that you need to be looking at these kind of things. You join somebody else's program, even one of mine. You take one of my courses, you read one of my books. You don't do it to support me. Do it because I'm going to give you something that you can use for yourself to support you. All right, that's the game that I'm in. All right, that's why this whole thing is called work on your game. All right, so I'm helping you work on your game. I'm going to give you the stuff I got, and we're going to work on applying it to you so that you can get your game to where it needs to be, because that's your responsibility. So you got to make a decision about where your intention and focus is going to go day by day. Every day you have to make this choice, and every moment by moment, you're making these choices, because every time you pick up this phone, like this, if you're watching on video, you see me holding this smartphone, every time you pick this thing up, it is conspiring to distract you from your main focus, which is your business. I would say about half the apps on your phone. Let me see, I'm just looking at my home screen. How many we got? 4, 8, 12, 16. I got 24 apps on my home screen of my phone. How many of these apps, actually not 24, because some of these are like the nested apps. Of all these apps that are in here, I would say about 40 to 60%, somewhere in that range. 40 to 60% of the stuff in these apps on the home screen of my phone, no, that's an underestimation. I would say 60 to 80% of apps on the home screen of my phone would distract me from my main focus, which is my business, and it's going to have me focusing on other people's business. Doesn't mean I won't use them, but again, when I look at other people's business, I'm doing it strategically. What can I take from this that I can use myself? If there's nothing, then I'm not paying attention. And if I catch myself not doing that, then I gotta check myself, like, yo, who's watching your business right now while you're looking at this? So where's your focus going to go? To you and your business, or to someone else's? Because you cannot do both at the same time. Recapping today's class, which is compare and despair. Definition of compare is to estimate, measure, or note the similarity or dissimilarity between. Today is all about making sure that you are not getting into the comparison game, which is a normal, natural thing for human beings to do. And a lot of what we do here, work on your game, is going against the grain of human nature, but you can start to do this in a habitual way. You just got to get conscious about it at first. Point number one, another person's path is not your path. Though your path may converge with another person, you have a destiny to live out, as do they. So when you see other people in a certain position, and maybe you admire them, or maybe you look down on them because they're not doing maybe certain things that you think they should, understand there are elements of their path that are not the same as the elements of yours. Therefore, you should not compare where you are to where another person is, because there are probably things that you don't know about what they're doing or how they got to where they are that you will never know. Point number two, you don't know the full story of another person's life. So do not compare another person's highlight clips to your full footage, and don't compare your highlight clips to another person's highlight clips. You just might be better at making highlight clips. So one of the downsides of social media is that it is designed to allow us to be in everybody else's business. And while we all take advantage of this opportunity, understand you don't know the full story of another person's life, because there's a lot more to the highlight clip than the actual highlight clip. Any of you who watches a sport, there's a big difference between watching the whole game and watching a 3-minute highlight reel on ESPN, or I guess it would be on YouTube or Instagram these days. There's a lot more to happen, a lot more you would know if you watch the whole game than if you watch just the highlight reel, right? Can we all agree? So you don't know what else is going on outside of what people decide to show you. That's why it's a losing proposition to compare from the beginning. And number three, mind your business. Your only true affiliation is to you, to your success, and how that success affects the people around you and the people for whom you are responsible. What other people are doing or have done or are claiming to do is not your business. And keep in mind, when your mind's not on your business, guess how many minds are on your business? Zero. So every minute you spend not paying attention to your business is losing, because nobody's paying attention to it. And if nobody's paying attention, that means your business is underperforming compared to its potential, which means you are underperforming compared to whatever your higher being, whoever that is for you, has put you on this planet to do. Your higher being did not put you here to pay attention to other people's business. They put you here to pay attention to your business. And your business is your purpose. And nobody's purpose is paying attention to what everybody else is doing. So you got to make a decision about where your attention and focus will go, because you can only focus on one thing at a time. It would be you and your stuff, or somebody else's, because you cannot do both at once. 2 things for you to do now. Text me to get my daily motivation straight to your phone, free of charge, every morning. My number is 305-384-6894. And go to workonyourgame.net. Get access to my free 45-minute training. Interview business professionals interested in increasing your income in business, and you want to do it by system and process, not by luck and effort. Go to workonyourgame.net. The training is free. At the end of it, I'll give you a link to where you can schedule a time to get on a call with me, and let's talk about how we put this into your business ASAP. Work on your game. Dre all day.